Not only is how we eat changing, so is the way our food is grown. So what will the future of farming look like? Andrew Falzone explains we may need to turn our eyes toward the sky.
Towering amidst the skyline of tomorrow, vertical farms give new meaning to the term green building. And while these concept drawings and scale models look like science fiction, they have quickly become reality. Dr. Dixon DePommier heads the Vertical Farm Project at Columbia University's Mailman School of Public Health. So what is a vertical farm?
So for my definition, since we coined the term to begin with, it's a multiple-story indoor farm.
Not only has DePommier coined the term, he's also written the definitive Bible on vertical farms.
The hardcover version that came out, there were no examples that I knew of vertical farms. Okay. This was in 2010. And today there are so many that I had to write another book.
So this is moving very quickly then?
Once the idea got out, it became very, very prescient. I love that word, prescient. It's immediate.
They can grow almost any crop anywhere, and the technologies that power vertical farms have popped up in some pretty remote places. Antarctica is perhaps the world's most inhospitable climate, but this indoor grow room allows researchers living there to eat fresh greens year-round. This vertical farm at the Paignton Zoo in England provides food for a variety of its residents. At Caliber Biotherapeutics in Bryan, Texas, these plants are grown and then harvested to produce vaccines. And deep in the outer reaches of space, this experimental growth chamber sits aboard a NASA lab on the International Space Station. It could allow future generations of space explorers to grow food on remote outposts. But DePommier says vertical farms can take care of impending agricultural issues right here on Earth, like how to feed the Earth's population, estimated by the United Nations to hit 9 billion people by the year 2050.
Right now we can't feed 7 billion people. And that's not because we can't make enough food, by the way. We can grow lots of food, all right? But the moment you start to have to ship it, or store it, or package it, or unpackage it, it becomes damaged, eaten, rotted. There are lots of problems.
This was a hybrid that we actually bred ourselves.
In his research loft at Boswick Farms in Bushwick, Brooklyn, Lee Mandel has mastered a technology that makes vertical farming a reality. It's a centuries-old technique of growing plants, but leaves out one key component.
Without soil, things become a lot easier, especially in an indoor environment. And I see that that's where hydroponics is really key to vertical farming.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change estimates that 30% of the world's greenhouse gases come from agriculture. So using hydroponics in vertical farms would help reduce those emissions in part by eliminating soil.
So what we've got here is what's called a deep water system or a raft culture. And we've got plants that are growing directly in water. And you can see the roots just come right out and go right into a whole bed of water.
Vertical farms would also help reduce land and water usage. According to the UN, 40% of the Earth's land and 70% of its fresh water are used by traditional farming methods. A Canadian company called Alteris has developed a vertical farming system it calls Verticrop. The technology is used to power its vertical farm in the heart of downtown Vancouver called Local Garden. In a test using lettuce, the Verticrop system required 87% less land and 98% less water than conventional farming techniques, something Lee Mandel says he's found in Brooklyn as well.
You can give the plants exactly what they need and get very efficient growing.
And crop cultivation happens in a time and place where you least expect it. This is a grow room in full swing in the Midwest, in the middle of winter.
We could grow in water, we could grow with no chemicals, no pesticides, we could grow with nutrients from fish. Now, can we sell that?
That's the question Yolanta Harda is trying to answer at Farmed Here. Her company took over this 90,000 square foot warehouse in the Chicago suburbs, which sat vacant for 5 years. It's the largest USDA certified organic vertical farm in the U.S. Its produce is available at local and national grocery stores located in the Chicago area, but it's capable of serving up more than just greens.
So basically we're using them to fertilize our plants, to naturally fertilize our plants.
Mark Gonzalez is a master grower at Farm Tier, which decided to skip hydroponics and uses a similar system called aquaponics. It incorporates 8 to 1,200 tilapia, which are raised in tanks about 3 stories high. The fish and plants feed, fertilize, and filter each other in what scientists call a closed-loop ecosystem. Farm Tier not only sells its produce, the fish are part of the profits as well. Gonzalez still marvels that the operation is year-round.
To grow it in the dead of winter in Chicago is fantastic.
This intersection is much closer to home in Newark, New Jersey. It almost became home to the New York metropolitan area's first vertical farm. However, the project didn't make it past the concept stage. Across the country, opponents of vertical farms say the structures require too much energy to operate and that the crops they yield are too expensive. Those in favor say increased energy efficiencies from the next generation of high-tech LED lights will reduce costs and boost profits.
I have little patience or tolerance for anybody who criticizes an idea based on expense, because every new idea is expensive.